So if you've had your music turned down, rejected, or no response from a music library, well, it might not quite be what you imagine. Human nature really dictates that when we are turned down or we're rejected or we don't get an answer from a music library, which is essentially what this video is about, that we assume that it's the music that's not good enough. I mean, that's just like human nature. If you don't get a response, it's, oh God, my music must be rubbish. And the whole sort of thing is to then you sort of think, well, maybe if I swapped out that bass guitar, or maybe my strings aren't good enough. Perhaps I need a new string library, or I need to buy an expensive reverb. That might do the trick. But very often it's not that. That's obviously what we first start thinking about, and we go to YouTube videos and we want to improve the music. It's the obvious thing. It's the first thing that comes into our mind. I'm going to use a little bit of an example from a recent experience I had to demonstrate that this really might not be the case. So just before the summer, the end of August, which is really bad timing in hindsight, I sent off 3 tracks of a little concept album to a really, really good music library, like an internationally known, really, really well, high quality music library that I really want to get into. And I know they're really difficult to get into. So I sent the 3 tracks off, didn't hear anything, which is, pretty much par for the course. And a couple of weeks later, I sent a follow-up email saying, sorry, you might have just missed this in the, email box, etc., etc. Within an hour, I got a message back saying that really, really love your tracks. Listen to your tracks here. Just updating my computer, which is confusing me, but that's fine. Really, really love your tracks, and that we want to chat with you about them, which is fantastic. However, we're just going into August time, and it's holiday time. Why don't we get in touch in September? So I've got my timing wrong on this. I actually sent this the end of July. And he said, we're all going on holiday, it might be easier to coordinate in September. Let's have a Zoom or a FaceTime in September. So I emailed back, said, yeah, that's great. Lovely to hear from you. Here's a few suggested dates. Get back to me if those don't work for you. So I suggested some dates in September. Obviously nothing. Didn't really think about it. Thought, okay, well, he's maybe on holiday. Tried again, beginning of September. Hi, how are you doing? It would be great to meet from our previous email. Like you said, here's some dates. Nothing. And then I think I tried again as well, probably a couple of weeks ago, just saying, look, hi, you might have missed my email. Why can you not read my email? I know you want to talk to me. I know you like my music. Why are you not getting back to me? I obviously didn't write that. I was much more professional, but basically that was what I was thinking. And I haven't heard anything, and I've actually moved on to another library with those tracks. So the rejection in this scenario wasn't the music. What was it then? Well, it was possibly that he changed his mind, or it's possibly that he got snowed under with emails and they might get back to me at some point, and there's just thousands of other composers and this, that, and the other. Maybe he just moved jobs. I don't know. Now, I don't have any control over those 3 things. I only have control over my reaction to this. And my thinking on this is, well, I know that it's not my music, which is great. It could be the first thing. It could be that they don't want this sort of stuff anymore, and that's fine. It would be nice, wouldn't it, if you could have just sent me a quick line saying, oh, sorry, I didn't get back to you, but, our plans have changed. Good luck with it, etc. That would have been nice, but, it's not necessarily going to happen. More likely, I think the most likely scenario is that I just got lost in a sea of other stuff. And I think this is a lot of the time the issue that as production music composers we face. We're sending our music out to libraries, and the chances of it landing on somebody's desk at the right time, so literally the right time of day when they've got time to look at it or listen to it or pass it to whoever, or even read your email, the right time in that your music piques their interest. Your music might be absolutely fine, but just not what they're looking for at the time. You know, they're very often, they don't even listen to the music. I don't think they even open the emails half the time. And we imagine that it's our music. You know, we're thinking, oh, they've listened to all my tracks and they don't like my music. Actually, they've probably not even opened your email. And it got me thinking, well, do I, you know, as a composer, do we want to be working with a library that possibly doesn't respond just to politely say, look, sorry, I know I got back in touch with you and said I wanted to see you, but we don't? Or do I want to be working with a library where the guy's so snowed under that, I don't know, administratively they can't sort of sort this out? I don't know. And you know, the best libraries I think to work with are the ones that you have, that are organised, have that you can communicate with, that there is a dialogue with. You know, I don't really want to be trying to get people's attention all the time. So I don't know. I will at some point submit something else to them again, but for the moment the music is going to go elsewhere and it'll get picked up. But it's going elsewhere to other libraries now with a newfound sort of sense of confidence, because I know that the tracks are good. I trust the library's judgment. You know, he liked the tracks. He's really enthusiastic about them. So I know the music is good. So the message of this video is that probably a lot of the time, if you're not getting responses back from production music libraries or in any sort of musical sort of context, it could well be a music, which is what we automatically think, but there are 1,001 other variable factors here at play that could be preventing that. And I think if you can we've just got to find a core of confidence and a core of belief in what we're doing and a core of sort of real strength that, okay, my music is great, it is really good, and there's somebody out there that needs this and wants this. You've got to hang on to that. You've got to be thick-skinned, and you've got to realize, you know, that actually everybody else is, you know, there's thousands of emails and your stuff just gets lost in the ether very, very frequently, no matter what its quality. Couple of things you can do, I think, are really, really well. 3 things you can do. I have in the past, I can't remember how I did it, and I'm not sure, I don't do it anymore, but it is possible to send emails and to track whether they are opened or not, and that is really, really helpful because it gives you an indicator of what libraries are doing. You can use, when you send your music, stuff like RealCrafter. So on RealCrafter, you can send a portfolio of music and it tells you when it's been listened to. So again, you get an idea of what's going on there. So you're not totally in the dark. And the third thing you can do is that you can control your own reaction to disappointment, to being turned down, to being rejected, being ignored. You can control how you feel about that to a certain extent. You can't control the fact that, you know, that a number of these music libraries are snowed under with emails, don't want your stuff at that time. I've got 1,001 other things going on, can't I manage their administration, you know, all of this sort of thing. But you can control your own response to that, which has to be one of self-belief and power and moving forward, and to just keep writing and keep sending your stuff out. I hope that was of some use. If you have had a similar experience or anything like that, please pop that in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you, and thank you very much for watching.